Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the last session of today. Right. So, let's begin our discussion now. Peter, if someone is accused of criminal case, is he or she can apply for UPSC? Peter, yes, of course, he can apply for UPSC. No issues at all. There's a column, fill the criminal case against you. You are just an accused. Innocent until proven guilty. Don't feel you are guilty. Now, if you are found to be guilty in future, depending on the type of case involved, then actions can be taken. And even during interview, if there is a case against you, or if you were convicted in a certain case, depending on the nature of the case, if it is a case, say the Prevention of Atrocities Act, maybe, how will we trust you, right? We can't trust you. We can't give you this power to pass or make policy programs when you were, say, a few years back, somebody who committed atrocities against a scheduled caste person. How will we have faith in you to perform your duties with neutrality? So, of course, there has to be that line. I'm not saying that we won't forgive you, but then there is always going to be genuine questions raised on how faithful you can be in the performance of your functions. Okay, so let's begin now on what is called the most important article that any individual can have is the protection of life and personal liberty. This is Article 21, the smallest, but which has the largest connotation, the widest possible article, Article 21. No person shall be deprived of his life or personal liberty except according to procedures established by law. So your life, your liberty will not be taken away without following a proper procedure. This is Article 21. What do you mean by this procedure established by law? I see a lot of people are still joining. Okay, so procedure established by law. Now let me explain this point. This is a very, very simple concept. Somehow students feel odd, overawed in this confusion, procedure established, due process. It's very, very simple. See, there's a proper criminal procedure that is followed. What is the criminal justice system? What does it comprise of? In the criminal justice system, how do we start? We start off with what? We start off with number one, preventing a crime. Right? That's how we start. If a crime has been committed, what is your task? Obtain information on the crime, then make some arrests based on information, conduct further investigation, find some more evidence, take the matter to court, prosecution, trial takes place in the court. In the court also, if you can't afford a lawyer, we'll give you a lawyer, advocate. In the court, the trial takes place. After the trial is over, the court gives a judgment. The judgment, if you are somebody who is rich, if you are somebody who has not committed a crime, you are acquitted. If you have committed a crime, you are convicted, and then the punishment is enforced upon you. This is what is followed in the procedure. Whatever is the nature of your crime, this is all executive action. Executive action. Whatever is the nature of the crime. I mean, let's look at even Kasab, right? Kasab was caught red-handed with a gun. I mean, was there more proof required? Not really. But did we not give him due proper procedure? Did we not give him a lawyer? Did we not ensure that the case goes to court? He's given a fair trial. This procedure is always followed. Come what may, we will always follow the procedure established by law. This is what is called procedure established by law. Meaning, executive actions cannot be arbitrary. Right? So, executive action cannot be random. Procedure established by law keeps a check on arbitrary executive action. Meaning, what if we arrest somebody and kill them immediately? That is why when encounters are committed, it is seen as violating the procedure followed by law. We have not followed the procedure. Did we make arrests? Did the court declare somebody guilty? Who is the police to find somebody's guilt? Police is not somebody, an authority which will impose punishments. Punishments are to be imposed only by judiciary. That is why they are called extrajudicial killings, which is wrong, which violates the procedure established by law. And as informed citizens, we should not clap. An amazing thing has happened. Come what may, we can't stoop to a level to appreciate such behavior. Whatever be the situation, it does not really matter. Because if you don't stand for rights of others, there may come a time when the government becomes autocratic and also takes away your right. You are going to be the next. So whether you like the person or not, within reasonable limitations, we should always ensure the rights of everybody is upheld within reasonable limitations. So this is procedure established by law. Procedure, the process should always be followed. The police cannot simply arrest you and kill you, right? If you have no lawyer, then the judge cannot say, where is the lawyer? No lawyer, haha, judgment given, punished. These things can't be done. There is a procedure that has to be followed, right? So this is why we say, no person shall be deprived of his life or liberty. Life meaning you cannot be killed, or liberty. You can't be jailed, imprisoned, save as in or except according to a procedure established by the law. This is the procedure established by the law. This system is borrowed from Japan. Okay. Now, fair enough. So we have followed a law, but let me give you an example. Let's say you are a Ranveer Singh fan and you love wearing dresses like these, right? And let's say you love wearing a dress like this. You have purchased a dress like this, and you also have a similar kind of hairstyle and whatever. The government passes a law, the parliament makes a law saying this kind of dress will not be allowed for males or anyone for that matter, because this can cause a severe mental trauma to people who are looking at this. A law. So anyone found wearing this dress will be jailed for 10 years. There is a law, let's say, wearing this dress can result in jail for 10 years. My point is that if this is the situation, what happens? Mr. Ranveer Singh in this case, or you for that matter, in this case, are found wearing a dress. Some neighbor of yours clicks a photograph and sends it to police. Police comes to your house. You say, no, I'm not wearing this dress. I'm wearing a proper, simple dress that everybody else wears. But then the police starts conducting investigations, finds out through CCTV that, oh, this person was found roaming here and there wearing this dress. Then they go to your house, get a search warrant, and then go to your house and find out the dress kept there. See, mind you, the police is very well following the entire procedure. They firstly told everyone, don't wear this dress, please. There's a law in the country. You still wear the dress. They got information of the crime. They made some arrests. They investigated, and then they found evidence. They went to court. The court saw the evidence. It found the evidence to be true, allegations to be true. Then the court gave a judgment, and you were convicted. Jail for 10 years. Was the procedure followed? Yes, of course. The procedure was followed. But is the law logical? I mean, see, you may question what kind of dress is this. Agreed. But it's his choice. Whether he wants to wear a dress, whether he does not want to wear anything, it's his choice. I mean, until and unless it does not violate the public decency, it's his choice. Right? So we don't see any public disorder happening because of this dress. No problem. Or tomorrow, if the government says, makes a law, anybody found eating chicken, right, chicken tikka, or maybe any kind of such dish, mutton korma, badam pasanda, will be jailed for 10 years. If somebody wants to eat mutton korma or chicken tandoori, that's their choice. Right? Let them eat it. What kind of law is this? I mean, you are following a procedure, accepted, but the law itself is stupid. We have to ensure that executive actions are followed properly. Who will check the parliament, which is making these stupid laws? Due process of law. This keeps a check on arbitrary legislative action. Not only does the law need to follow a proper procedure for implementation, the law in itself should be reasonable, should be just, should be logical, should be rational. So, law should be reasonable, law should be just, law should be rational, law should be fair. This is extremely important. Due process of law keeps a check on the parliament, that parliament cannot make such a law which will prevent these kind of things. So, the law itself is wrong. If a law is made in future like this, it will be cancelled. Saying, no, you can't make this law. Let people wear what they want to wear. So, that is why we are following due process of law as well. Even though it is not mentioned in the constitution, this is borrowed from which country? From USA. So, this is what is due process of law. When you make a law, the law should be reasonable. The law should be just. Maybe, for example, let's say Mr. Ranveer Singh says that I don't want to wear anything. I want to roam around naked. That could be questioned. Maybe some people, a larger part of society, find it obscene, immoral. Then we can make a law and restrict your right of this stupidity. That would be a justified law. But simply saying don't wear orange pants, it's okay, let him wear orange pants. That's his choice. So, laws should be reasonable. If you are able to justify rationally the law, it's okay. Otherwise, no, we'll have to cancel the law. So, this is what is called due process of law. And let me clarify. This is Article 21. Due process of law, this phrase is not mentioned. So tomorrow if a question is asked in the examination, don't say, yes, it is mentioned in the constitution. It is not. Due process of law is not mentioned. It is a part of judicial interpretation. So, not mentioned in the constitution, part of judicial interpretation. Okay, this is what is due process of law. This came up in 1978 in the Menka Gandhi case, the same Menka Gandhi case, where her passport was impounded by the government and she was not allowed to travel outside. So the Supreme Court cancelled the law, saying the law is wrong. You can't restrict people from traveling abroad. Right to travel abroad is a fundamental right under Article 21. So Article 21 has very wide connotation. Over the course of various judgments, you will find that Article 21 has been interpreted by Supreme Court to mean a lot of things. Of course, by Supreme Court. Like Article 21 simply says right to live, right to life. Mere living, is it life? Is it right to life? No. Right to live with human dignity. That's also important. Right to decent environment, including pollution-free water, pollution-free air, protection against hazardous industries. That is also an Article 21, right to life, right? Or right to livelihood, right to privacy. It's the landmark Puttaswamy judgment of 2017. Right to privacy, right to shelter. All these are part of Article 21 only. Right to health. This was again, I think Mohinder Singh Chawla case of 1997. Right to health. These cases not important, especially the older ones. When I give a very old case here, it is not important. Any new changes made, interpretation of Article 21 are important. Old ones not important. Right to free education, the Unni Krishnan case. Right to free legal aid. Right against solitary confinement. Remember solitary confinement, Shatrughan Chauhan case. You can't lock people up separately. Right to speedy trial. Right against handcuffing. You know, in the movies they always show handcuffs. The policeman comes to handcuff only every time. You can't handcuff people randomly. Right? You have to follow proper procedures. You can only handcuff an accused or even a convict if he shows a tendency to abscond, or you take the prior permission of the judicial magistrate. You can't handcuff everyone. That is violative of a basic human dignity. So, right against handcuffing. Right to timely medical treatment in government hospital. Right of prisoners to have necessities of life. right of women to be treated with decency and dignity, right not to be driven out of the state, right to fair trial. This was the police commissioner versus registrar of Delhi 1997. Right against public hanging, the very famous Lakshma Devi case of 1986. They are all through various Supreme Court judgments. Right against inhuman treatment, right against delayed execution. This is the Shatrughan Chauhan case. Right to travel abroad. This is the Menka Gandhi case. Right against bonded labor, right against custodial harassment, right to emergency medical aid, right of appeal from a judgment of conviction, right to social security and protection, right to social and economic justice, right to hearing, right to information. This was the Indian Express case. Indian Express versus Reliance Petrochemicals 1989. Right to reputation is soiled today only. Subramanian Swamy case 2016. Right against bar fetters. This is bar fetter. Cross bar fetter. These are called bar fetters. Cross bar fetters or chain fetters where your hands and legs are attached. These are called bar fetters. Okay. Then right to sleep, which you have a right to but don't use it right now in the class, but you still have a right to sleep, right? And that is why if the police harasses you by not letting you sleep, that violates Article 21. Remember this case? Again, we have quoted so many movies today. This movie called Wanted. The Telugu and Tamil versions are different. Pokeri and something. One was starring Mahesh Babu, the other one was starring Vijay, and the Hindi one was starring Salman Khan. Wanted. So in that, Prakash Raj is not allowed to sleep in the when he was caught by the policeman. Right to sleep is a fundamental right. Article 21. Right to electricity. Right to marriage. This was the classic Hadia case of 2018. You have a right to marry anyone of your own choice. Of course, the other person should also want to marry you, right? Otherwise, it becomes forceful. So, right to marriage restricted in the sense that the other person should also want to marry you. Don't feel that I can marry anyone. No, that's not possible. Mutual consent. Right to freedom from noise pollution. And just last year in the Mudrika Singh case, this was the Mudrika Singh case. Supreme Court said that right against sexual harassment is a part of Article 21, meaning sexual harassment is a violation of Article 21. Don't feel that, oh, so before that it was right. Yes, it was right. But now we have placed it under Article 21, giving it the supreme protection. Article 21 is the maximum protection which can be extended to any right. Because Article 21 cannot be suspended during emergency also. Remember, Article 20 and 21 can't be suspended because of the 1978 amendment in Article 359. So now, right against sexual harassment is a part of Article 21. Sexual harassment means your Article 21 is being violated. Now, people go to court for various kinds of interpretation of Article 21. Just a few years back, somebody had gone to court saying that, sir, I live a very ordinary life. And the petitioner, he said, I live an ordinary life. And I come back home every evening tired with the trials and tribulations of my life, my office, my boss, my seniors, my juniors, everybody. I get frustrated with the family obligations. Every night, I want to go back home and simply take a whiskey bottle and have some pegs. When I take a drink, a sip or two, I feel relaxed and I forget all the worldly problems. So I have a fundamental right to forget all the worldly problems. So please allow my right to consume liquor as a part of Article 21. Supreme Court said, please leave immediately before we take some action against you. But this is how cases are filed in court. Anyone can go to court and claim Article 21. Everything is a part of Article 21 only. So this is the problem with respect to Article 21. The right can generally be questioned or challenged. Now, we saw Article 19. But firstly, let's solve some questions and then we'll discuss further. Prelims 2021. Look at the difficulty level of the question. Right to privacy is protected under which article of the Constitution of India? 15, 19, 21, 29. I will give just 15 seconds, guys. I believe that should be sufficient. Please mark your answer. Of course, 91% say Article 21. I just discussed it. Right to privacy is a part of Article 21. Solve this question came in 2019. Which article of the Constitution of India safeguards one's right to marry the person of one's choice? 19, 21, 25, 29. Let me start the poll. I'll give you 15 seconds. Mark your answer. %95 say Article 21. Great. Maybe one fine day will also get 100%. One more question. Asked in 2018, right to privacy is protected as an intrinsic part of right to life and personal liberty. Which of the following in the Constitution of India correctly and appropriately imply the above statement? Article 14 and the provisions under 42nd Amendment to the Constitution, Article 17 and the DPSP, Article 21 and the freedoms guaranteed in Part 3, Article 24 and the provisions under the 44th Amendment to the Constitution. Right to privacy. 15 seconds. Mark your answer. See, questions are getting repeated. In 2018, the UPSC, not Supreme Court, UPSC asked a question on right to privacy, and again after 3 years they asked the exact same question. Right to privacy. Of course, 97% got the right answer. Article 21 being the right answer. So that's the correct answer for us. Now, as far as Article 21 is concerned, we have seen Article 19, which says that we have a right of freedom of speech and expression. Clause 1, Clause A. This right also comes with an exact opposite, meaning we have the freedom of speech and expression. Do we also have the freedom of silence? Of course we do. Article 21 now gives us right to life. Do we also have the right to die? The mirror opposite of it. Is it allowed? Is the question. So let us take a poll. Let's see what your opinion is. 10 seconds. There is no right answer. Right to die, yes or no. Plain blanket, an individual like you who is fully fit and fine, no issues, no concerns. Tomorrow you say, no, I want to die. I just feel I'm getting bored. Some fun and thrill is required in my life. I just want to die. I have right to life. Opposite right to die. Do you have a right to die? 75% say no, 25% say yes. No, we don't have a right to die. Maybe the other 25% are referring to something else. That is a right to live with dignity. It's not a right to die. Difference. We'll come to that. That's what is the cause of our next topic. This is euthanasia. Before we discuss euthanasia, let me clarify. We do not have a right to die. Even though you may say, sir, but our philosophy says that this body is a prison of the soul, and if I die, I'm liberating this prison, my soul from this prison of this body. I'm attaining salvation. It's okay. Yes, definitely. But the laws don't allow for it. Why? Because it's the duty of the state. It's the duty of the state to protect violence, to prevent violence, even if the violence is self-inflicted. Self-inflicted also. That is why we have a section 309 under IPC, which says that if you are committing suicide, you can be jailed for 1 year if you are alive. Look at the situation. You already tried trouble with your life. You want to end your life. What happens if you survive? Police comes. Come on, let's go to jail. What kind of law is this? Of course, a British made law, because in the Victorian concept, you could not harm your body. This body is a gift from God. You can't harm your body. But it was later on realized that not every suicide is out of sheer pleasure or fun. People under extreme mental duress also may resort to committing suicide, and that is why in 2017 a mental healthcare bill was passed, where now the suicide can only be a criminal case if the doctor certified that this person is not undergoing any mental trauma. Otherwise, it is not. It is not going to any kind of crime. It's okay. So if you are not undergoing any kind of trauma, only then it is a criminal offense. That is why it has to be proved otherwise. So thankfully, modifications have happened, and now committing suicide will not lead to jail sentence. You will be treated as a person with some mental ailment. That is very, very logical. Okay. Now let's come to euthanasia. After addressing this concern, let's come to euthanasia. What is euthanasia? Euthanasia, as the definition itself says very clearly, euthanasia is the termination of a very sick person's life in order to relieve them of their suffering. So we have a right to life, and right to life also means right to live with dignity, of course. So any life which is not dignified would violate Article 20. And I give you this very famous example of this lady in picture. This lady was Aruna Shanbhag. If you have not heard of her name, you know of her today. Aruna Shanbhag was a nurse in one hospital in Bombay, King Edward Memorial Hospital, KEM, that's in Bombay. So she was in the KEM hospital in Bombay. In one early morning of 1973, her body was found in the basement of the hospital, where the oxygen supply to her brain was cut because a dog chain was tied around her neck, and she was bleeding profusely. She was taken to the hospital only, and she slipped into coma and a permanent vegetative state, and she remained in that state. So she was completely on life support. In the COVID times, we saw the ventilator system. A lot of people breathing their last. We would try to give them some ventilator support so that they could survive, extending their life. But if you take out the ventilator, they would die. So your life, you can't survive without the external support. That is called life support. So she was on life support. This incident happened in 1973. And in 2011, that is 38 years later. Yes, 2011. 38 years later. She was on that bed only for 38 years in permanent vegetative state. Could do nothing, move, eat nothing. For everything, life support, external support was there. One journalist, Pinky Virani, she saw this news and she came to know of this, and she filed a petition in the High Court that is this life worth living? We talk about the right to live with dignity. Where is the dignity in this life? What if that lady wants to die? What if she is not able to convey this fact that I want to die? Kill me. I mean, in the COVID times, for 6 months, we're inside our house, inside our comfort of our house, with our loved ones, with all the resources. We went crazy. Imagine somebody spending 38 years on the bed. What kind of life is this? When Pinky Virani went to the High Court to file a petition seeking the end of life, termination of very sick person's life, because she's suffering, I want to relieve her of her suffering. Nurses in the hospital became very upset. They said, why are you bothered? It's our money. So basically, since 1973, it had become a norm of sorts in the KEM hospital that the nurses would donate some part of their salary for the upkeep and maintenance of Aruna Shanbhag. Finally, Pinky Virani was convinced. Pinky Virani was able to convince the nurses. They went to the Supreme Court also. The Supreme Court said convince the nurses and all. So the nurses were convinced finally. And in 2015, after a lot of convincing, the nurses were able to realize that, see, there is no dignity in this life. What if she wants to die every day? We can't really let her survive. We can't really let her or keep her like this just because we are feeling satisfied about it. That we are contributing. So finally, in 2015, we officially conducted something which is called passive euthanasia. This is now allowed in India. So since 2015, passive euthanasia is allowed, and since 2018, guidelines have also been released on passive euthanasia. What is passive and what is active? Euthanasia means to end the life of somebody who is a terminally ill patient, no scope for recovery. Active means, or passive means, death through omission, meaning what? We are not helping the person survive. We have stopped external life support, withdrawal of life support. For example, the COVID cases, stop the ventilator, the person dies. This is called passive euthanasia. What is active? When the person will survive, but we have to externally inject something to kill the person. Death through an act. There's a movie called A Beautiful Sea or Beautiful Life. A Sea Inside. I forgot. Javier Bardem is the actor. There's a Bollywood movie made on the same lines called Guzarish, starring Hrithik Roshan. Same concept. Now Hrithik Roshan there could move, could talk, could not move properly, but could move his head and all, could talk and experience everything, but could not move his rest of his body. And he wanted active euthanasia. Active is not allowed. In most countries, it is not allowed. How can active be allowed? You are somebody who may be ill, but you will not die if we don't do something. You're not dependent on life support externally. There's no oxygen mask attached to you constantly. So this is called active euthanasia. If we allow for this, then we have to practically kill somebody. Active is like killing somebody. Passive is simply denying somebody any external support. right? So this is active and passive euthanasia. And mind you, euthanasia's concept is linked to somebody who's terminally ill, somebody who's physically ill and is not well off physically. You can't use this on a physically fit person. Just because I don't feel like living, no, that can't happen. We can't allow for that. Otherwise, there'll be a spate of such people coming and saying, kill me. Then the society as a whole will lose the zeal to fight. That's not possible. We cannot simply create the situation because see, eventually your life is not your own. Why don't we have right to die? Because we are right. Our life is not just our own life. It's a very Western individualistic notion that it's my life. No, it's not your life. A lot of people's lives are attached to your life. It depends on your life, right? Your parents, your friends, your family, a lot of people. So we have to understand that the reasonable limitations of right to life, the euthanasia also. Now, what is good about euthanasia? Advantages, of course, it ends individual suffering, definitely, right? Somebody suffering, I mean, what kind of life is this, frankly? Secondly, see, in the Indian context, it is so challenging in our country to keep patients on life support. Our country, which is, and especially look at the family. Why should a family have to bear this burden of keeping somebody on life support? Are you aware of the costs involved? It could range from 1,000 rupees to 10,000, 15,000 rupees per day to keep somebody on life support. So how is it justified? It's very, very costly to keep somebody on life support. Then the very important opportunity cost of hospital care. I mean, in this country, when we are running short of beds, have you ever gone to a government hospital? Let's say you never get a chance to go ever. Once you're an IS officer, you can go and visit and all. You realize that people are lying on the passages, waiting for treatment, and then somebody occupies a bed because some people's emotions are attached. Yes, it's a very emotional argument, but is it really rational? In a country where we're running short of staff, running short of beds, running short of hospitals, can somebody's fulfillment of emotional agenda and objectives be a sufficient reason to hold resources which are so limited, so scarce? And of course, is it not practiced informally? I mean, look at the situation in COVID times only. On so many occasions, doctors themselves told the families, withdraw the life support now, let's remove the ventilator. He or she will die only. Don't make him or her suffer. Let it be. And we knowingly withdrew the ventilator. What was that? It was an informal kind of passive euthanasia. When doctors themselves would come and tell you, especially for old people, that no medicines would work now, let it be. Why do you want to keep this person in the hospital? Take them to your house. They should spend the last few days they have with the company of the loved ones. Let them enjoy that last few moments rather than spending that in the hospital. We do it right, informally. So that's already there. Why not have legal process for it properly? These are the advantages. Then some challenges. The biggest challenge is misuse. The possibility of misuse. Maybe property is involved, right? Immediately there could be a problem. Or the very classic case of Munna Bhai MBBS, or in various other languages, I think Shankar Dada or whatever name this movie was released with Kamal Hassan or other actors in various languages, Tamil, Telugu, etc. What is that? The concept of Munna Bhai? Anand Bhai. This is Anand Bhai from Munna Bhai MBBS. Basically, in the entire movie, Anand Bhai sitting on this wheelchair and is not able to move. Finally, towards the end of this movie, he is able to move also because of the Jadoo Ki Chappi of Sanjay Dutt. The whole point is that there is always room for miracles. Who are you to make the statement that there is no scope? There is always a chance of miracles happening. How can we say with 100% surety that there is no scope? That argument can always be put forward that there is no scope, or there is some scope. 0.1%, 0.00001% possibility is always there. And sometimes, see, I'm not saying that people who are in some kind of very serious situation, say in a coma, they are some guinea pigs. No, I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is, when the regular course of medication fails and there is no scope for improvement, doctors can be slightly more unconventional in their approach. They can also try for some alternative techniques or medicines, which may work, because see, regular medicines are not working. So the doctors may also go and try, and what if this clicks, that clicks, various things can be tried, because in which way the person is not responding to normal medication. But if you directly go and kill the person, then it's okay. You have tried normal medication, it does not work, kill him. Then it will also adversely affect research on crippling diseases. Sometimes, see, medicine as a profession also, I'm not saying completely and comprehensively, but sometimes, and in fact, a lot of it depends on the experience of the doctor as well. The more experienced the doctor, the better he or she is at in his or her profession, because you gain experience with various body types, what clicks, what does not click. You give some medicine which click on both people, you now feel that I have the propensity to give such medicines, etc. Right? So that's how it is. Sometimes we can try alternative medicines also to help the person recover, if the person is beyond the scope of recovery through normal channels. But if you kill the person immediately, then we are also preventing any kind of research that can possibly be done at a very informal level on such crippling diseases. These are the issues pertaining to passive euthanasia. But in our country, we allow for now passive euthanasia. Right? It is not active, but passive euthanasia. And as far as passive euthanasia is concerned, don't worry, nobody is going to ask you the guidelines of it. The guidelines are that it can only be done under the guidance of the High Court. 2 judges will have to be there. They have to approve it. And then there will be a couple of doctors with 20+ years of experience in their respective field. They have to ascertain, after the regular doctor has said that there is no scope for recovery, 2 doctors have to sign who have 20+ years of experience that yes, there is no scope for recovery. And then the court will give the permission. And in the presence of the doctors, passive euthanasia will be done. So strict guidelines are there, even for passive euthanasia. So this is what is called passive euthanasia. Active is not allowed. Only passive euthanasia is allowed. That's all as far as euthanasia is concerned. Okay, so if a question is asked, you can frame the answer, pros, challenges, and it's for your own logic or rationale to choose any side. Passive euthanasia is always something that could have been accepted, and finally since 2015 we have allowed for passive euthanasia. Okay, so this is euthanasia. Now coming to Article 21, capital A. When I say capital A, of course, this article was not there originally. It was added in 2002, and this was done through what? An amendment to the Constitution, which was the 86th Amendment Act. Please remember this Amendment Act also. And this is what is called right to education. What is this right? The state shall provide free and compulsory education to all children of the age 6 to 14 years in such a manner as the state may by law determine. Again, see, the same Article 17 kind of language. State may by law. This is the same language used in Article 17 also. Hence, we will call this article as a non-self-executory. Why? If let's say the article says every kid has right to education. Go and study. But where should I go and study? You're simply saying go and study. Where? Some place, right? Which place? So that's the problem. The state has to make a law and provide for provisions for students to get education. And that is why, in pursuance of this law, a law was actually passed. This was called the the Right to Free and Compulsory Education Act 2009, also called the RTE, or the Right to Education Act 2009. Just to add a couple of points here, through the 86th Amendment Act, a couple of changes were made. You should remember all three changes. Change number 1 was made in the fundamental rights. One Article 21A was added. Change number 2 was made in DPSP, Article 45. Originally DPSP used to say this thing. This was originally DPSP, that the state shall endeavor to provide free and compulsory education to all children of the age 6 to 14 years. Once we found the opportunity that yes, now in 2002, we can create provisions, we can set up schools to provide for education, then the DPSP language was changed. Now the next target is this. The state shall endeavor to provide early childhood care and education, something called ECCE, early childhood care and education, ECCE, for all children until they complete the age of 6 years. This is what is the Article 45. The state shall endeavor to provide early childhood care and education for all children until they complete the age of 6 years. And then Article 51, capital A, clause K, this is a fundamental duty which has been added again to the same amendment, which imposes a duty on every citizen of India who is a parent or a guardian to ensure that their kid goes to school if he or she is between 6 to 14 years. Okay, so these three changes have been made all through the same 86th Amendment Act 2002, right? Then we have Article 22, protection against arrest and detention in certain cases. So what exactly is this Article 22? Article 22 says that everyone has some kind of protection being offered. When you are detained by the police, arrested by the police, you have 3 rights. What rights do you have? Number 1, you have a right to be informed why you have been arrested. So next time the policeman asks you, or policeman arrests you, you can ask him, why am I being arrested? Article 22, clause 1. He or she may slap you, right? But then you can ask him. That's a right. Secondly, right to consult legal practitioner. Legal practitioner here means a lawyer. Right to consult a legal practitioner or an advocate. So in your Hollywood movies, they showcase, I will talk only to my lawyer. I speak to my lawyer only. You can do it in India also. If the police arrests you, simply say, I talk to my lawyer only. Right? They'll get confused. What the hell is this person? But a right to consult any legal practitioner. So you can consult any lawyer, any advocate, anyone you feel like, any legal practitioner. Okay. Then number 3, right to be presented before judicial magistrate. So the police cannot arrest you and keep you in the lockup for 10, 15 days, 100 days, 10 years without taking you to court. They have to take you to court within 1 day only. When they arrest you, they have to take you to court within 24 hours. Judicial magistrate. Okay. Obviously, excluding the journey time. Journey time will not be included. If the police arrest you from far off place and they are bringing you to the court, and the police arrests you, takes you to court, it cannot be more than 24 hours, right? So these are the 3 rights available to everyone. But these 3 rights are not given to certain categories of people. Number 1, all those people who are enemy aliens. Remember these enemy aliens? Aliens are foreigners. Who are enemy aliens? Citizenship chapter. Enemy aliens are those people with citizens of those countries with whom we are officially at war. Enemy alien. So this right can be denied to enemy alien. And of course, to persons arrested under preventive detention law. Meaning PDL, persons arrested under preventive detention law. What is this law? PDL. Now, what is preventive detention? You must have heard of something called punitive detention. After a crime has been committed, somebody is detained by the police. Police arrest somebody. That is called punitive. Punitive means after committing a crime. That is punitive detention. When you arrest somebody after a crime has been committed. Preventive detention is when you arrest somebody even before a crime has been committed. Now you say, but sir, how can you arrest somebody before a crime? Of course we can. If we feel that you may commit a crime in future, if your behavior is not appropriate, you're a history cheater, you're known to have involvement in various kind of weird activities, right? Maybe the police feels and suspects that maybe you'll commit a crime. Arrest. Prevent a crime from being committed. This is called preventive detention. Imprisonment of a person in anticipation of a crime. And preventive detention laws can be made, or preventive detention can be done to ensure the security of the state, maintenance of public order, maintenance of supply of essential services, meaning the let's say the police has information that you are black marketing, let's say in the times of oxygen cylinders, and you are holding those cylinders, or police comes to know that you are holding oxygen cylinders, or if you remember the example of various situations where some commodity is running short in the market and you try to hold the commodity, or the police has this knowledge, in the past also you were found to be holding this very essential commodity and you want to make the commodity disappear from market and then sell it at high price, then the police arrest you before you get involved in such activities. Or foreign affairs or security of India. So on all these grounds, the police can arrest you. And mind you, laws on preventive detention can be made by both central and states. Why? Because preventive detention is under union list, it is under entry number 9, it is also under concurrent list, entry number 3. So like for maintenance of supplies of essential services, it's for that state also can make laws. But for foreign affairs, only center can make laws. Security of state, only center can make laws. So in some circumstances, even the state can make laws. Okay. Now there is a small catch under preventive detention. What is that? Under preventive detention laws, maximum arrest can be for 3 months, within which an opinion of the advisory board has to be taken. So when the police arrest you, then they can keep you with them only for 3 months, not more than that. Within those 3 months, there is an advisory board where they have to take you, and that advisory board consists of anyone who has been a judge, or is qualified to be a judge, or is a judge of the High Court. So it consists of a few members who have the same qualification as a High Court judge. And then the advisory board can further recommend either filing a case in court officially or can advise further detention by the police. And there are various laws. Parliament can make laws to provide for the maximum period maximum period of detention. For example, there's a law called NSA, the National Security Act. Here, the detention is you can be detained for 1 year at a time. Or the Public Safety Act of 1978. This is the law of 1978. You can simply Google search for it. PSA 1978, Public Safety Act 1978, applicable in Jammu and Kashmir. Under this law, you can be jailed for 2 years without even going to court. I mean, look at the situation. 2 years in jail, detained by the police. Maybe there's no case against you. And there have been so many laws in the country with respect to PDL. Now, when you are under a detention law, there are two rights that are there for you. As soon as maybe communicate to such person the grounds of arrest. It depends on the police. The police, if it wants to tell you, why they arrest you. But if it violates public order, if they feel like by telling you it may violate public order, they won't even tell you why you're arrested. Imagine lying in some police lockup for 1 year, not even knowing why you have been arrested. Or police will also give you the earliest opportunity for making a representation against the order, maybe filing a case in court against this arrest. Earliest opportunity. What is meant by earliest opportunity? For you, earliest opportunity could be 10 years. Who knows? This is called preventive detention. I mean, it's very weird that under fundamental rights, we have such extreme kind of restrictions on fundamental rights. And there have been so many laws in this country. Examples of PDLs in India. Like we have the PDA, the Preventive Detention Act 1950, expired 1969, or the very famous MISA. Remember? People were being arrested under MISA, the Maintenance of Internal Security Act, which is also called the Maintenance of Indira and Sanjay Act, MISA, which was repealed when the party came to power in 1978. Or the very famous law called Coffee Cosa. Is basically a law which looks into the conservation of foreign exchange by preventing smuggling activities. Back in 1970s, all the movies, they would show the villain, the big villain, the main villain was always a smuggler, right? So that was a very huge crime back then, smuggling. What was that? Tax evasion. You smuggle things without paying tax on it. That was seen as such a huge crime back then. Coffee Cosa was such a law. Then NSA, the National Security Act, sometimes called NASA or NSA, it all depends. Both things are the same. Then Tata. Tata was a law under which Sanjay went to jail. Tata. It was repealed, thankfully. Tata was such a draconian piece of law that so many people went to jail under Tata, falsely implicated. The conviction rate under Tata was less than 1%. Randomly people were arrested by policemen and were sent to jail without any evidence against them. And after 1 year, they were taken to court. The court would find no evidence. Leave them. What happened to the policemen? Nothing. That's why it's very likely. Agent Rani and others also. ATMC also did the same thing. That how can a preventive detention law be in place in the fundamental rights? I mean, people are raising questions on how this law should be in place in a democracy. But here we have PDL or such allowing PDLs to be in place in the constitution of this country. It's a black spot on the constitution, and that means fundamental rights. This is a hypocrisy of the matter. That we are talking about upholding the civil and political liberties of people. Here we have something which prevents the most basic right, Article 21. Then prevention of illicit trafficking, narcotic drugs, and psychotropic substances, the RM Khan issue. And POTA. POTA was a law which was passed, the last law we passed as a joint sitting in the House. POTA 2002. It was passed by then NDA government because of the parliamentary attack, in the wake of the parliamentary attack. And in 2004, it was repealed by UPA. So these are examples of preventive detention laws. Okay. Now let's go on to take a quick break, just 7 minutes, and then we'll be back at 7:15 to take up our discussion on right against exploitation. Break, please. Last 45 minutes. Okay, so right exploitation. First up, we have Article 23, which says prohibition of traffic in human beings and forced labor, meaning traffic in human beings and forced labor, or begar, any other similar form of forced labor is prohibited. And any contravention of this provision, when you try to violate this provision, meaning what? You get involved in trafficking of human being, or you get involved in begar or any forced labor, what can happen? Contravention of this provision shall be an offense, punishable in accordance with laws. What will be the laws? Later on. What is traffic in human beings? Selling and buying of men, women, and children like goods. Immoral traffic in women and children, including prostitution. Slavery or Devdasi. What is the concept of Devdasi? Devdasi is a concept which says, this was an earlier concept. The ancient original concept of Devdasi was completely different. Like every religious aspect, it starts with some religious connotation, and then the upholders of the religion are the ones who violate the laws to the maximum possible extent. Anyway, when it came to the concept of Devdasis, the original idea with respect to Devdasis was that these were women or rather girls who were involved in the service of God. They were attached to a temple and largely seen as married to God, basically, in the sense that they were attached and they were devoted to the upkeep, caring of the temple only. They had devoted their entire life to serving God. Okay. But slowly and steadily, this concept largely became prone to misuse, and they started serving not the God but the temple priests. A lot of sexual exploitation took place of such women, right? And this became a huge challenge. So Devdasi as a concept is also banned in the country. No more does it exist. Now we hear some stories here and there, some case in Andhra Pradesh or some other state, in some unique occasion that Devdasis still exist. Yes, of course, the kids of such families, such women still exist. That's every social evil takes a very long time to get uprooted or eradicated thoroughly from the system. So such things are not allowed. And we have something called the Bonded Labor Abolition, System Abolition Act, called BLA. It's probably called the BLA because we saw this, right? If you have forced labor or begar, now what is begar or forced labor? Begar means compulsory work without remuneration. Meaning, if somebody forces you to work and does not give you salary also, right? Like if your parents tell you fill up the fridge with water bottles and they don't pay you money also, that's not begar. Okay. And but any kind of compulsory work without remuneration is called begar. Then forced labor, meaning you compel somebody to work against his or her will, is called forced labor. See, the distinction is that you can't move out of this, right? Forced labor or begar. Like back in the days, zamindars used to give loans to all these peasants. Peasant would get trapped now, and he could not return the loan. So peasants' family, the sons, the daughters, they would return the loan. They would not return the loan because the rate was so high, and the entire generations after generations were trapped into serving the zamindar's family because their forefathers had taken some kind of loan. This is called begar or forced labor, depending on circumstances. Now, some people may have this doubt, but sir, my company has a bond, 3-year compulsory bond. That's not forced labor. You have signed the bond. Who asked you to sign the bond? Don't sign it. I mean, the company has a condition for a job. You can't say I'm being paid only 10,000 rupees, but they are asking me to do these many things. I don't like to work. Nobody is compelling you. You are there through choice. You have right to leave the company at any given point of time. Before you join the company told you, by if you leave before 2 years, you have to pay this much of money. That's a condition. You want to join, you join. Nobody is forcing you. Distinction. You can move out there. Here, there's no option. So nobody can force you. If you are forced, there's a law in this country called Bonded Labor System Abolition Act, under which such people can be punished. And same goes for prostitution. See, as far as selling sex for money is concerned, prostitution as an individual activity, right? It's not banned in the country. There is no law which bans prostitution. An individual has every right to sell sex for money. There is no law which bans it. It cannot flourish as a group activity. That can't be done. So even under Article 19(1)(g), it is not allowed. So things like brothels. What is a brothel? Brothels are places where such activities take place. You normally call them as red light areas, or even people who act as agents, right? The middlemen, pimps. It's not allowed. An individual, if she or he wants to sell sex for money, go for it. But as a group activity, it's not allowed. It's banned. And we have something called Suppression of Immoral Traffic Act, passed in 1956. This law was later renamed into ITPA. The Immoral Traffic Prevention Act, 1956. It was renamed because the original law called Suppression of Immoral Traffic Act. If you abbreviate it, it comes into SITA, SITA. Now, it's a very respectable term used in one religion. So the law was renamed ITPA, Immoral Traffic Prevention Act. So individuals can sell sex for money. It cannot run as a group activity. That is why buying and selling of human beings, men, women, children, prostitution, etc., is illegal, because we are considering prostitution as a group activity here. It is not allowed. This is the first clause. Okay. Second, and the more interesting. Now, see, let me also come address one concern here. Some of you can say, sir, why are those red light areas there exist there? Firstly, these areas claim to not run as a group activity. Firstly, that's their claim. Secondly, there are also a lot of challenges for the police. Let's say you stop all these areas from functioning. Where will you relocate all these people? I mean, the government a few years back said that we would try to relocate them to their families. What if families refuse to take them back? Then what will you do? So that is why laws need to be implemented, but then you have to also understand the consequences that come along with the implementation of laws. That is why red tape is not a good thing. Excessive conformity to rules and regulations is not a good thing. The idea here being that when you enforce these laws, what happens to people there? What will happen? How will they be relocated? What will be their new profession? All these challenges have to be addressed, because the government does not know what to do in future. That is why they're ignoring it. That's to address all such concerns, because the governments across the states at the center have no response to what to do if we ban such places completely, if we have a complete prohibition on such activities, even at an individual level. What will the government do in response? They have no answer to it. That is why they let it happen. It's okay. Ignore it. There's a lot of areas like this where you have police stations also. What can we do? That's how life is, right? Anyway, coming to the second clause, 23 clause 2. This is a slightly more interesting one. First clause says that nobody will enforce any kind of forced labor on you. Nobody can do it. But the second one says nothing in this article shall prevent the state from imposing compulsory service. State can do it. Others cannot do it, but the state can do it. State has full authority to impose compulsory service. So state can impose compulsory service for a public purpose. But when the state imposes such compulsory service for public purpose, the state shall not make any kind of discrimination on grounds only of religion, race, caste, or class. Meaning the state, what kind of compulsory service can the state impose? Like you have various countries, for example, Cuba. Cuba has something called conscription, forced military service, mandatory military service, or maybe Angola. Angola has a similar kind of provision. Iran has it. Israel has it. For both men and women. This actress Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot, was in the Israeli forces earlier. She has contributed to compulsory military service in Israel. So the idea being various countries, Chile, Algeria, South Korea, various countries have these provisions. So India can also have. But let's say tomorrow the government says everybody has to serve under the military for 2 years. You can make the statement. You can also say every male has to serve, because we can make discrimination on grounds of gender. It is allowed. But you can't say only rich people have to, or only poor have to serve. No, not on class. No discrimination on religion. You can't say only Hindus or Muslims can. No, you can't. Or race or caste. So discrimination cannot be done on religion, race, caste, or class. So state can impose compulsory service. Okay, this is how it is. Now, one small aspect to be understood here is the best thing is to always ask a question on this. Let's say you study properly, you revise well, you are thorough with your revision, mock test, everything, and you clear the prelims, you clear the mains also. Eventually, you are up for the interview, and on the D-day of the interview, you are out going for the interview, and you're wearing a pristine white dress or some salwar kameez, whatever, and you are going to the interview venue for the interview. Dholpur house, all excited to give your best. A policeman stops you in between, says, wait, where are you going? You say, I'm going for the interview. Don't disturb me, because once I clear the exam, I'll be your boss. But then the policeman asks you, have you read the Constitution properly? You say, of course, I was taught by an amazing faculty. I have read the Constitution properly. But then the policeman says, have you also read Article 23? You say, yes. Clause 2, yes. Do you know Clause 2? Yes, of course. State can impose compulsory service. Okay. Am I a part of state? The police says. You say, yes, of course. You are a state as per Article 12. Remember state Article 12? Yes, yes. Sovereign functions. Ajay Hasia case, you are part of state. Okay. I am the part of state under Article 12. I am telling you, please clean this road and clean the drain. This is a public service. Clean the drain. Of course, it is public service. I am imposing compulsory service on you to clean the drain right now. Clean it. Can the policeman issue this order to you? Imposing compulsory service, because it is for a public purpose. Clean the drains for everybody. The roads, it's a public road for everyone. And the police is a part of state also under Article 12. Will this order be allowed? Yes or no? 10 seconds to write your answer. Will this order be allowed? Or can the police ask you? Of course, overwhelming majority says no. Of course, no. Why no? The police cannot ask you. Give me reasons quickly. Let's see reasons. Not emotional arguments, but logical reasons, please. Police is a state. How is police not a state? Police is a part of state. Refer to Article 12 of the RCR case. Discrimination. Where is the discrimination? There is no discrimination. It's not official. Police is an official. Not vested with such powers. Violating Article 21. How is violating Article 21? Government should issue an order. Where is it mentioned? Government should issue an order. This is an individual work. So what? It does not mention that. Police constable is not state. Oh, it reeks of biasness. Everybody is a part of state. Some of you are right. Others who are giving other kind of reasons, freedom, public purpose. No. The only answer to this question is that this compulsory service can only be imposed through a law. Can be imposed by law. All other answers are incorrect because police is a part of state. It fits this description comprehensively. The only issue is that the police giving an order to you is an executive order. But compulsory service requires a law to be made by the government, either the center or the state. That is how it is. I hope this point is clear. Only the laws can be implemented, or we can impose compulsory service only through a law. That's what is required. That is the right answer for this question. Okay. Now coming to Article 24. Prohibition of employment of children in factories, etc. So we know very well that child labor is abolished. In fact, there is a law in this country called Child Labor Regulation and Prohibition Act 1986. So child labor is banned in the country. In fact, when this law was passed in 1986, child labor was banned in 18 different occupations and 65 different industrial processes. Right now, answer again. One more question: yes or no question. Can kids be employed as household help? Yes, no. I mean, can kids be employed as domestic servants in the house? Yes or no? Mark your answer, please. 41% say yes. Oh, are you talking about yourself as a kid being employed in your own house? Kids cannot be employed as domestic servants. It's not allowed. And the more shocking thing is that this provision of kids not being allowed as domestic servants is a 16-year-old law. Right? Let's look at the stages. In 1986, the law was passed where kids were banned from 18 different occupations. And in 2006 only, the employment of kids under 14, when I say children, I mean to say under 14. They were not allowed. Employment was banned as domestic help, roadside dhabas, tea stalls, spas, hotels, restaurants, etc. Strictly banned. It's a punishable offense. The punishment can range from 6 months to 2 years of jail. The punishment is 6 months to 2 years of jail or a fine, which can be as high as 20 to 50,000 rupees. We should know this. This is a very old provision that kids can't be employed as domestic help. And in 2016, the government took one more very progressive step by stating that from now onwards, there is complete ban on kids from being employed anywhere. Anywhere. Kids under 14 can't be employed in any profession. Nowhere. There are two exceptions to it. One exception is the audio-visual entertainment industry, meaning Bollywood, cinema, film industry, theater, such things. Right? So, audio-visual entertainment industry. Secondly, in family-run enterprise, if the family, and here the family's definition is very precise. Family does not mean your third uncle's, fourth cousin's, 13th son-in-law's, 18th maternal aunt's, 44th grandson. No, that's not family. Family is defined very, very precisely. Your brother, your father, your mother, your grandfather, grandmother, etc. Very close people to you, around you, are a part of family. So if a family, let's say, runs a vegetable shop, there you are allowed. But don't say, sir, what if the family runs a domestic help service and you can't employ a kid there? That's not allowed only. Domestic servant, kids not allowed. But let's say after school, if your father runs a tea stall, the kid there can help the parents out with that particular family-run enterprise. That's it. That's it. There is no other exception to it. And even that, the government says that, the law says rather that it should not interfere with the studies of the kid. Should not interfere with the studies. Now comes the problem. What is the meaning of this? It should not interfere with the studies. What is the meaning of this? It simply means that the government just wanted to say some kind of lame statement. What do you mean by this? Should not interfere with the studies. Will you check the attendance rate? Will you check the marks of kids? Not really. I mean, think of a situation. The kid is being employed in, you have seen all these reality shows, Indian Idol, Dance India, Dance for Superstar, Kid Superstar, Rising Superstar, whatever. They have to sleep also. When will they get time to study? What are you saying when you say that it should not interfere with studies? What kind of statement is this? How do you make sure that this doesn't happen? Are you keeping a tab on their scores? How much marks are they getting? This is just somehow see, we are very nice. This is some kind of statement which is just there for public consumption. Let's see. Oh, such sensitivity in the law, right? That even if we are allowing them there, they are giving a statement. They are adding a clause that it should not interfere with the studies of the kid. How sensitive a law? It makes no sense. But nevertheless, the statement, the law's language is very comprehensive, except audio, visual, and entertainment industry, and secondly, in a family enterprise, kids under 14 are not allowed to be employed anywhere. So, if you feel and if you have seen such an activity happening, firstly, let me tell you something on a very serious note. Don't try to take the kid away and say, don't work. Somebody can file a case against you. Molesting a kid, right? That could be a serious problem. Don't do this on your own. Report to authorities, right? So, firstly, if you find a kid employed somewhere, kid being on the street, please don't take action on your own. Don't get emotional at that point of time. Think with a legal acumen. Go to the police. Report to the police, right? You can file a case in the court. The police will take up the matter, but don't take action on your own. Firstly, it could be very, very problematic for you. So, sometimes enthusiastic people take action on their own only. Secondly, report. It's very important to report. Whether to the Ministry of Women and Child Development or to local authorities, report. If such activity is happening anywhere, please report. As an informed citizen, yes, I understand that UPSC's preparation takes time, energy, effort. 5 minutes of time. If you observe this, report. It's very, very important. So these things should be incorporated if found to be happening. Secondly, this law also said that adolescent person, now a new category was created. Kids between 14 to 18, they were called adolescents. Kids between 14 to 18 are prohibited from being employed in hazardous occupations. Hazardous occupations. This law talks about something called hazardous process or occupation. What is that? There are 3 processes which are called hazardous. Those 3 processes are anything that has got to do with mines, of course. Anything that has got to do with inflammables. What are inflammables? Inflammables are things which catch fire quickly. And explosives. Mines, inflammables, and explosives. These 3 things. And under the Factories Act 1948, there's one Schedule 1 which defines various kind of processes as hazardous processes. Don't need to know all these things. Things like coal industry, iron ore industry, paper industry, bangle making, all these things are called hazardous processes. And you can't employ anybody under 18 there, forget 14, even 18. So now we have 2 categories. One is children under 14 and then we have adolescent 14 to 18 who can't be employed in hazardous processes or occupations. Okay, so this is the law. Please remember from this day onwards that there is complete ban on kids being employed anywhere. Solve a question came in 2017. Which of the following are envisaged by the right against exploitation? Please, the words right against exploitation in the Constitution of India. Prohibition of traffic in human beings and forced labor, abolition of untouchability, protection of interest of minorities, and the prohibition of employment of children in factories and mines. Please take the poll. I am giving you 30 seconds to mark your answer. Oh, sorry. Mark your answer. Great. 85% got this correct. So, prohibition of traffic in human beings is Article 23. Untouchability is Article 17. It is a part of right to equality. 2 can't be your answer because the question says right against exploitation. So, 2 can't be your answer. Remove 2. We have our answer C, 1 and 4 only. Protection of interest of minorities is Article 29 and 30, and prohibition of employment of children in factories and mines is Article 24. 4 and 1 being the right answer. Okay. With this, we are done with Articles 23 and 24. Last, but not the least, the freedom of religion. So, while teaching this topic, if I offend anybody's religious sensibilities, it is just something that happens by chance. I have no intention of hurting anyone's religious sentiment. So, please bear that in mind. We are all mature to have a proper comprehensive discussion on any topic. First up, we have Article 25, the freedom of conscience and free profession, practice and propagation of religion. So, starting with Article 25, let's read and look at this article. We have seen Article 19, Article 22, rights, restrictions, rights, restrictions. So, we have firstly the rights and then the restrictions. But look at this article, very weirdly framed. This article starts with restrictions and then gives us rights. What are the restrictions? Subject to public order, morality, and health, and to other provisions of this part. Which part are we talking about? Part 3, fundamental rights. Meaning what? Meaning Article 25 is subservient to all other provisions. That's what it says. That Article 25 has been given a lower pedestal, has been placed at a lower platform than all other provisions of Part 3. Subject to public order, morality, and health, and to other provisions of this part. So you can't claim Article 25 over some other article. Not allowed. Because Article 25 has a lot of restrictions on it. All other articles act as restrictions on Article 25. So right to freedom of an individual is refrained, has restriction. All other articles will act as restriction on Article 25. So Article 25 is not some very big absolute right. Okay. All persons, not just citizens, persons are equally entitled to freedom of conscience. First things first, freedom of conscience and the right freely to profess a religion, to practice a religion, and to propagate a religion. What is the meaning of all these things? Conscience. When we say you have freedom of conscience, what does it mean? Freedom of conscience means you have every right to mold your relationship with God in whatever way you want to mold it. You feel, the God is everywhere, so wait. You feel the God is in the books, okay? You feel God is in some place of worship, God is in your parents, Sachin is God, it's your belief completely. You talk to God, God comes in your dreams, it's okay. Freedom of conscience. Your way, your inner relationship with God is completely your own choice. It should not impact public order, morality, health, etc. Right? Then profess, meaning proclaim. You have complete freedom to proclaim or profess your religion in whatever form or manner you want. You can profess publicly, proclaim that I am of this religion, I am of that religion, I am an atheist. You can proclaim that depending on who you are around. Ignore that. You can proclaim your religion freely, profess your religion completely freely. Then one more thing, because see, there are a lot of visible manifestations of how you profess or proclaim your religion. You may carry a tikka on your forehead, you may wear a skull cap, you may let's say wear a cross, or the Sikh religion. They also are supposed to carry some things, wear some things, have hair, right? This is a very important aspect. This is mentioned in the Constitution. That explanation 1 is not my explanation. This is mentioned in the Constitution. The wearing and carrying of kirpan, kirpan is like a small knife, shall be deemed to be included in the profession of the Sikh religion. So Sikhs are allowed to carry kirpans. So it cannot be deemed to be a security threat. It should not be a dangerous weapon of sorts, but you are allowed to carry your carry kirpan as a part of profession of Sikh religion. Profession, to proclaim, not some profession as a job, to proclaim publicly as following a religion. Then practice. So you are allowed to practice and carry out your rituals, however, in whatever form you feel like. Of course, your practice of ritual should not come in the way of conflict with, say, public order, morality, health, etc. That's again a limitation. So when I say all these laws, I'm constantly reminding you that the conscience, profession, and practice, all these are limited, please. It's all limited. Meaning restrictions can be imposed on these things. And to propagate, meaning what? To transmit, to spread by exposition of its tenets, spreading the doctrines of a religion. You're allowed to propagate your religion, spread your religion, transmit or spread the teachings, the doctrines of your religion. This is all Article 25, Clause 1, which gives the individuals the right to practice their religion, right to profess their religion, right to propagate their religion, also the complete freedom of conscience. But then comes Clause 2. Nothing in this article shall affect the operation of any existing law or shall prevent the state from making any law, regulating or restricting any economic, financial, political, or other secular activity which may be associated with a religious practice. So let's say a group is running some school or some hospital. Now, running a school or a hospital is a secular activity. You can say, my God tells me to run a school or a hospital. I'm running this. Don't tell me what to do. This is my freedom of practicing my religion. My religion says run a hospital, and I'm running it for the poor people. No. Because running a school or a hospital is a secular activity, it is not dependent on religion. The government can interfere in this. Okay. Secondly, the state can make a law providing for social welfare. So state can make a law and provide for social welfare as well as reform or the throwing open of Hindu religious institutions of public character to all classes and sections of Hindus. Meaning, the state can make laws to allow entry of everybody to Hindu religious institutions. When I say Hindu, I mean to say, of course, Hindus, Sikh, Jains, and Buddhists. That is what I mean to say when I say Hindus. It is the Constitution which explains it, not me. So when I say what I mean to say is what the Constitution means to say. Hindus means Hindu, Sikh, Jain, or Buddhist. And read the same very carefully. Nothing shall prevent the state from making any law to do what? Providing for social welfare and reform. Meaning what? If there is any practice of your religion, any ritual practice which violates the social order, which is derogatory to a human being or a group of people, then the state can make a law and remove that practice. Right? So state can interfere in your religion. It is allowed by the Constitution. This right is not absolute. The state is allowed to interfere in matters of religion when it comes to providing social welfare and any kind of reform. This is what is the Article 25, the right to freedom of religion of individuals. Okay, so that's it. Let's do one thing. Let's end our discussion here only today. Tomorrow we'll take up from this very same point. I mean, we have seen Article 25.